Link on you to Facebook. It won't let me.
All right. Sorry, are we good to start?
Yep,
All right, awesome. All right, so let me just introduce our guest of honor tonight. Miss Gloria Caldwell got her first taste of Lindy Hop when her father decided to take her out to the famous Savoy Ballroom. She became entranced by the high energy and high-flying moves she saw on the dance floor, and she wanted to try it, but wasn't sure yet if she wanted to be thrown in the air just yet. But that all changed when she met the famous Mamalu Parks at the Savoy and was invited to come to her after-school workshop and talk where Mamalu talked to her about starting a little choreography group. And what led from there was the creation of one of Lindy Hop's greatest performance groups to date. From James Brown to George Foreman, Gloria's been all over the world performed with some of the most prolific entertainers and has some stories to tell. So everyone will, please just unmute real quick and give a big round of applause for Miss Gloria Caldwell.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Awesome. How are you doing today, Gloria?
I'm doing very good.
Awesome. Because you're in New Orleans right now, right?
Yes,
How's the weather down there?
good. Yes, it's 89 degrees.
Awesome. Yeah, you're probably more comfortable. It's like close like 94 in Delaware right now. I'm sweating.
Oh my goodness.
But enough about me. So Gloria, I always want to start how we always do and just kind of go with your origins because you've traveled around a lot when you were younger.
Yes.
And so you were born in Missouri, but raised in Indiana and also raised in New York. Is that correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of tell us like why you were doing all this moving around?
Well, my father, he worked on New York Central Railroad. He was a cook on the train, and he was traveling with us when we were small children, and we would ride with him. And so he went to different places, and he liked Buffalo. He liked New York City, but we started out in Buffalo, New York. That's close to where is it? Where the water, all Niagara Falls. It's not, far from Niagara Falls. And so he liked all that. And we were able to go to Niagara Falls and see that. And then he got a house in Buffalo, New York in the summer. And when it came time to go to school, right, it started to snow. And we were snowed in, so we didn't get a chance to go to school much because, it snows very hard there. Banks up against the doors and the cars and whatnot. And he says, as soon as the snow thaws, he said, we're going to New York. And that's how we ended up in New York City.
Awesome. And when you were in New York City, that's when you first discovered swing dancing and Lindy Hop.
Yes.
Were you a dancer at all before you moved to New York?
No.
And so then what brought you to the Savoy for the first time? And again, this is the original Savoy Ballroom, not the Savoy Manor that came afterwards.
Right, the original Savoy. My father, he liked music. He's passed, and we were very close. And so he says, you like music like I do, so I'm going to take you to Savoy and let you hear some, good music. And I said, okay. And so I went. They had what they call ladies' night on Thursday, and the different, how ladies' night you get the free, you come in for free and whatnot. If the ladies come in, then the men are going to come in. So he would take me there on Thursday night. And by going often, I got to meet, different people, and I got to meet the dancers, the people that just dance there because they like to dance, and became friends with them. And so one of the fellows took an interest in me. And so he said, you are going to be my partner. And I said, okay, what does that involve? And he says, oh, we're going to dance. You see how they're dancing? I say, yes. Say, see how he lifts the girl and brings her down and throws her down on her back. And so he said, steps like that. They call it air steps. And so I said, well, I tell you what, I'll dance with you on the floor, but I don't know about those air steps. And so he said, okay, he said, I won't let you fall. I said, we'll see. And so, I started dancing with him. And that's what led to him teaching me the air steps.
That's awesome.
Mm.
Do you remember who this was who became your partner? Was this James Pugh?
Yes, that was him. That was my very first partner. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Now, yesterday, May 26th, is widely regarded as a World Lindy Hop Day, and we actually had a very special, how they Google will change their logo for certain events. They did something very nice and created like an interactive game about the Savoy Ballroom. So that gave a lot of exposure about the original Savoy and the facts behind it and the dancing. Could you just kind of paint us just a broader picture of what it was like going to the Savoy Ballroom?
Well, it was a wonderful adventure. First, because I was young, and my father was there, so I wasn't worried about, anybody, trying to get close to me, because my father, he, kept his eye on me, and so, he said, "Go ahead and dance," and that's what we did. I started to dance with different ones. I danced with other people, but James Pugh, he was the one that picked me out, to dance. And it was a good feeling, the boys and the girls, the young men and the young women. It was just all about dancing. And even the seniors, 60, 70, 80 years, they would, they could still move. They would, dance. And it was a good feeling. The music was good and it was fast. And that was another thing that we had to learn was, to dance fast. And it didn't take much, once they showed you the different steps, then, it came easy. Everything after that was all right. But it was a very good feeling and I enjoyed it very much. And I met a lot of people there and a lot of other dancers. And that's when they spoke about the Harvest Moon Ball. And they said, we're going to have a rehearsal in a couple of days. And so James said, well, Gloria, you have to come. And I said, rehearsal for what? He said, practice. We called it practice and we're going to practice. And he said, get ready for the Harvest Moon Ball. And that started that off. This was in 1953. And that was the first time that I danced in the Harvest Moon Ball. But anyway, we practiced and whatnot. Big Nick was on that, Sugar and Sullivan, quite a few of them. I can't remember. But anyway, I remember, a lot of them. I had a lot of pictures and things, but because of Katrina, the flood, I lost a lot of things. So I don't have, I just only have a few pictures.
Oh, wow. Speaking of the amount of friends, the amount of people you met, one thing we always hear about the original Savoy is just the size and scope of everything. Even if you go to what I believe it might be called the Savoy Apartments, where they have the plaque that commemorates the Savoy Ballroom, you can kind of envision how big this was, about the size of a city block. Was the dance floor, I'm just trying to imagine a crowded dance floor with a floor the size of a city block. Were there always a lot of traction coming in and out of the Savoy? Was it always a crowded dance floor?
It was always. What would happen is when they would play, the favorite music that the dancers like to dance to do the Lindy Hop, that the people would back up and we'd have a circle, and each couple would take that turn, and you get out and show what you and your partner could do. Then somebody else would come along and should show what they could do, and the rest of the people, after a while, they stopped dancing just to watch the well the good dancers, or the pros, or the ones that had routines and stuff, and they would take time and watch them. So we always had room, because they made room for us. But it was a very good relationship with the people just come to dance, and the people that well kind of thought they owned the dance floor. So
Was a normal night at the Savoy, how much were the different types of music that are being played? Because I know, like, the Savoy, they accompanied multiple dances. It's called the home of the Lindy Hop. There were like almost like different dance corners where they said that you would find different dances going on. Did the music change according to what dance was going on? Like, was there a schedule throughout the nights that you could kind of see which part of the night you want to dance to, or was it kind of uniform, or was it kind of up to the band?
It was just up to the dancers and the band. They played different music. They would play slow music, and they would play blues, and then they would play fast music, like Jumping at the Woodside, and Count Basie's music, and Duke Ellington's music. I'm trying to remember Arthur Prysock, Red Prysock, the brothers, and they would play, all kinds of music, and but they would play a whole lot of the Lindy, because that was the favorite dance that the people liked to dance to,
Awesome. And so you first went to the Savoy in, I think you said 1953, and the original Savoy closed down in 1958. Do you remember are there any, aside from your first night there, any very memorable moments of the Savoy that kind of stick out in your mind?
Like, besides the dancing or the music?
Oh, no, just any just memories of the Savoy that really stick out to you.
Oh, we like to go. The music was great. And you met all kinds of people, all kind of entertainers came to the Savoy, singers and musicians and whatnot. And it was a variety of entertainment and a variety of people that would come.
Awesome. And speaking of, variety of people, that's where you met Miss Mamalu Parks for the first time.
Yes.
At that time, she was working at the hat check room.
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember the first time you met her?
About that time, let me see. A little bit after that, I think, close to the time that I started going, that my father, was taking me there, and then we started to, I started to talk to her, we got a relationship, a friendly relationship, and we would talk about the dancing. And she says, I'm going to do that. Well, she always had size, and we were small, and she had a little size on her. Have you seen pictures of her?
Yes, of course.
Yes,
we've in past interviews, we've shown videos of her dancing as well.
Oh, good.
Some clips.
So that's where she started at the Savoy too, dancing the Lindy Hop.
And then from there, that's when she told you about her after school program that she was running.
Yes, she worked there in the hat check room at night, and then in the daytime, she would, after school, she had this program for the children, to come and to learn dancing and different things. So it was first the what do you call it? What's the cowboy music?
The square dancing.
Square dancing, yes.
Yep.
They wanted her to teach square dancing, but we didn't want to learn square dancing. And what's so funny about it, later on, we did learn it because when we got to be professional, we did all kinds of dancing, so we had a square dance routine. We did at Radio City Music Hall, and, so we did learn it, but it was just part of an act. But other than that, we were there. We went to Radio City for the Lindy Hop. And that's how I got to meet Miss Parks. We got to be friends, and she told me about her having this after school program, and she wanted me to come. And that's, I went, and that's how we hooked up.
And sorry, I just got distracted for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, of course, eventually, we know this story eventually leads to the creation of the Parkettes, this worldwide Lindy Hop traveling phenomenon.
Right.
But what's been very special with talking with the original Parkettes is that that you guys have been able to tell us kind of the origins of that group. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like you say, she was supposed to do square dancing, but then, kids wanted to learn Lindy Hop.
Mm-hmm.
What was the transition between, kids asking to be taught Lindy Hop? What were the steps that led from there to this performance group that started traveling around? Like, was there a moment where Miss Parks said, "Oh, we can make something with this"?
The Lindy Hop was brought to her attention, from the Savoy, mm-hmm. and by us going to the school, right? We started to learn the Lindy Hop. I knew it from the beginning because I started at the Savoy. So, mm-hmm. And then I would help her and whatnot, and different ones, would add to it. David was one of the first boys to him, and Waco, Edward, Dickie, those were the boys. But Bobby Schiffman came over. Him and his father owned the Apollo Theater, and they said, they wanted some dancers, and so that's how that started. They wanted to, would we be able to do something other than the Lindy Hop? And so we said we would. So we started putting down routines to different things, and then we became an act. So our finale was the Lindy Hop. We always ended up with the Lindy Hop because they picked out the girls first, and we picked out the boys because they were our partners.
Awesome. Going back to Miss Parks, because last time we talked, like I've heard stories of just how intense of a teacher she was, and how mm-hmm. how deeply she demanded respect of this dance mm-hmm. when it came to, especially when you guys were going out to performance. Yes. You told me that she had that same intensity even when you guys weren't performing yet, even in the yes. early stages, even when the Parkettes weren't a thing, Miss right. Parkettes still demanded that you guys respected this dance.
Right, right.
Can you kind of give us just kind of more detail of what those practice sessions or workshops look like, of what she was teaching you guys or how she would teach it to you?
She would call for practice sessions, different times, like different days really of the week, and somewhere between after school and 6 or 7, right? And then as we got older and into it, we would stay a little later than that. And she wanted, because she knew where the Lindy Hop came from, and it represented the Black people. And she wanted, us to be represented and to be respectful, not just be, carry yourself in a nice way. You do the dance, right? And when you wasn't dancing, you were, sitting down and just, or in the dressing room or whatnot. But she wanted you to be, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. It was a respect thing, and she wanted the Lindy Hop to carry on. So, but she taught other kinds of dancing, to the different dancers that came along. We were called one time the world's greatest twisters, and we went on a tour with Brooke Benton and Fats Domino and a whole lot of them, because we learned how, to twist, and we did twist. Everything that we did, you know, we did it a little faster, than and it wasn't just that, it was just going, and up and down, twisting, and I mean legs, you name it, and we learned a lot of other dances right along, with that. Like I say, the twist, it took us on tour, and we put the Lindy Hop on the tour. That was the main thing that we were known for, to be Lindy Hoppers.
Going back to your early involvement with the Parkettes, because you shared earlier that, when you first saw Lindy Hop, the first person that asked you to dance asked if you wanted to do, pretty much if they could do aerials with you, and you said, "Now let's stay on the floor," which is surprising if you've ever seen a Parkette routine, because when you see you guys on stage, your feet are barely on the ground.
Right.
It's dancing aerial. What changed your mind to be able to do those routines?
Well, if I was going to be in the contest and participate like everybody else, I had to think twice about it. And I trusted James Pugh. He never dropped me. I never fell. I was never hurt, doing the Lindy Hop, because he took his time. And then after that, I would do air steps with anybody, because I knew how to control myself, and they knew how to control the girls. And if I was going to be in this thing, then I had to, say, I got to get in the air, got to get off the floor and get up in the air.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And so now that the Parkettes is an established group, what would you consider your first, or maybe just your big break as a dancer? Like the first moment where like it kind of hit you that you're a performer, that's more than just a gig at this point.
Well, I guess our first major gig was the Apollo Theater. Mm-hmm. Right. And then after that, Radio City, then after that, World Tour. But I think that was the first major, job. We got paid, and that was nice. Other times when we first started, we were doing it, because we loved to dance, where there was no money involved. But when we found out that, could make $1, well, we said, oh, that's nice too.
Can you describe to us what it was like performing the Apollo for the first time?
Out of sight. So many entertainers, and the most famous entertainers that you could think of, that when they would put a show together, they would have the star, and then they had a house band, and they would have comedians, they'd have other groups, and they'd have you. Each group would have their spot. It was choreographed, and it was exciting. We couldn't wait to get on the stage, because it was a good feeling, and we loved to dance.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall any of the entertainers that performed with you guys that day?
Oh, Lord.
Sorry to put you on the spot, Gloria.
Oh, dear. I don't know. I can't.
If it comes back to you, we'll get back to it.
Okay.
Awesome. So how long after that did you perform out of the country for the first time?
Oh, my goodness. I think the first out of country was Africa. I think that we went to Africa first. And but we had been dancing a while, before we did that. We toured the States, we would go to we went to Canada, and, you name it, down south, up south, north, south, different cities that we, uh, I'd have to shake my brain. I had pushed it aside.
All good, all good. Let's just focus on Africa for now, because that was when you guys traveled down there for the Ali Frazier fight.
No, this
Oh,
was
no?
this was the State Department.
Oh, okay. What was
Mhm.
that? What was that? What was that trip for?
Uh, a cultural affair. You know, what we do. We were to teach it to the Africans. The
Mhm.
people in Africa, and they would show us in turn what they did, and it was a lot of similarities to the same things that we did. Some things we did a little slower, some things we did a little faster. Some things they did slower and some things they did faster. But that's what it was. It was a teaching tour from the government and the
Mhm.
State Department, and they sent us there. Mhm.
Awesome. Do you recall what their reaction was to Lindy Hop?
Oh, oh, they wanted to try it right away. They couldn't wait, like they'd see us and, they would speak it. So, so we said, come on. And we let them on the stage and, they'd do as much as they could. And then when we would have the classes to teach them, then we showed them how to do it. But they wanted to do it when they saw us doing it at the same
A-
time. And
And
we
these
were,
are like the routines that you guys
yeah,
do that you would show.
right,
So
right.
you're not teaching them just like a basic slow swing out. You're teaching like the first stops or like some routines you
Yeah.
guys did.
And the first basic slow swing out
Okay.
to get
Okay.
into it because it leads into the stops.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if I've heard about that trip yet. That sounds really good.
Mm,
So I guess to the Africa trip that I am aware of, the Ali Frazier fights,
yeah.
the that one. Can you kind of describe the events of that day? Of like, because I was curious. I don't know if I've ever asked. I probably have. But I just forget the answer. Just where did your guys' dancing fit in to that event?
Uh, After we would go to the fights with them,
Mhm.
right? And we would open up the show. They would treated it just like it was a show. We were the first things before they started to fight.
Okay, so you guys are the opening act for the
Right.
Rumble in the Jungle.
Mhm.
That's that's some badge of honor, honestly. Awesome. Can you like recall just anything notable from that event that kind of sticks out to you?
Would you repeat that?
Oh yeah, just was there anything just particularly memorable about performing for that event?
Oh, well, to be there, and they were, the country loved Muhammad Ali, and
Mhm.
when they treated us like royalty, and it was real nice and interesting, and we found out a lot of things about the country that we didn't know, and it was a learning experience, and we enjoyed it, and was most exciting.
Awesome. One thing that's always really interesting to me is kind of people's reactions when they first see Lindy Hop.
Mm-hmm.
Um, are you able, because you said that before you traveled internationally, you traveled all over the states.
Mm.
Uh, was there any particular difference between how Americans viewing Lindy Hop for the first time reacted versus um, anyone international that you showed it for the first time?
They were excited. They thought it was uh, one of the most entertainingest, greatest things that they had seen. And the thing that helped it a lot was it was fast. We did, the music was so fast and throwing and whatnot, it's like you didn't have time to count. But we knew the count because we knew what we were doing. But and everybody was excited and they wanted to see it again. And a lot of people would want us to show up on steps, say, well, can you show us how can I do this and how can I do that? You know, that's how it was working.
Awesome. A common question that I think I've asked almost every guest. We know that you guys always use Lindy Hop to close out the show. So it was the most exciting part of the show. So that was the best closing. But can you tell us just kind of what an average Mamalu Parks routine entailed of? Not just the Lindy Hop portion, I guess the entire Mamalu Park show of when you guys would perform, what it would entail.
Well, it had a little tap into it. We took a couple of steps from the dances that tap dance, the different we did other things. We did, we added a twist to it, and we had all the latest dances, whatever they were into, those dances you see, the monkey, the frog, the shake, all of that. We took all of it and added a little bit to a routine, and we had a routine for this. Then we added a little of other things from something else, and we'd have a routine for that. It was always entertaining, and people could see it and identify with it. And we took a lot of it from, there were dancers, in the 20s and 30s that did a lot of things, and we took steps from them. We said borrow, we didn't steal, because we just borrowed a few steps from each one.
I think one of the most surprising ones that we learned from Deborah's interview last month was the fire dancing and the fire eating that was incorporated into your guys' stuff, and she was able to show us some pictures of that, because I never knew that you guys incorporated that into your performance. So yeah, that was really amazing to hear.
Yeah, did about a variety of things,
And just thinking about just everything you guys would do in one show. After a whole year and a half of quarantine right now, I tried doing a Charleston for like 3 minutes and I had to sit down for 20. How did you prepare to just put your bodies through those shows?
Well, that's kind of hard to explain, because it was, like I said, we just did it. Whatever it is that they wanted us to do, whatever the routine called for, we would practice for the routines and different things. But when it came time to doing it, we just did it. We'd talk about the other groups, and they would say, well, when are you going to warm up? And we said, oh, we all right. And we wasn't warm up dancers. When it came time to hit that floor, we hit it. And I mean, we hit it. It was regardless of whether it was slow or fast or the latest dancers or Lindy Hop, we were there.
And I know one thing that you said to me, and something that's been said by many of our other interviewees, is that it was also just the amount of practice you guys put into these routines, it was just second nature at that point.
Right.
Like at that point, I think it was, for those who don't know, there's an interview with David and Gloria from 2006 that ILHC put on their YouTube channel last year, I believe, where I believe David was retelling kind of what you just told us, where everyone at the show was kind of, they were stretching, they're practicing, and you guys were in the corner just talking with each other, eating, and be like, are you guys going to practice? Like, we will. And then you guys would go through pretty much your full routine at speed as your practice.
Right.
Like there was no warm. You guys came in hot even when you finally practiced.
Yes, right.
Like it almost seems like you guys couldn't do the routine slower than what you guys had practiced and what was in your bodies. And just from your experience, I'm going back to the shift you had between someone who didn't want to be flown to one of the highest flyers in the group. What what advice would you give to people who want to get into aerials, especially for flyers of aerials? What advice would you give them?
Well, because you need a partner, you know what I'm saying? It's not like the Olympics where you're doing twirls and this, that, and the other. It's because you're doing the Lindy Hop or you're doing a routine, you know, just for the aerial steps, have a partner that you trust. Be with somebody, you know, like your partner becomes like a part of you. You know, you can read signals. You don't have time to say, well, okay, we're going to do this. We would say we were going to do this routine or this step, and we knew what the step involves. We knew what we had to do to get into the step, what was on the floor that we had to do, the routine that we had to do on the floor to get into the aerial steps. But you have a partner, and just trust in your partner and get in the air, just hit it.
And kind of given the other end of the question, because I know there are a lot of people in the chat right now who are flyers in the partnership. What advice, what unfiltered advice would you give to the throwers?
Don't hurt your partner. Make sure that you have hand contact, right? For whatever it is, you must always have hand and body contact. So think of that your partner as you, and you know you don't want to be hurt, and you don't want to be dropped, and you don't want to be let go. Just make sure you got a good grip, and make sure you talk to your partner to what you want to do, and don't pull no, you know, surprise on them, because you have to be ready to do these arrow steps. And if they surprise you, and because he wants to do one thing and you're thinking you're going doing another, then you have to communicate with your partner and trust your partner. And it's a good feeling. And just go for it.
Awesome, awesome. I hope you said something that a lot of the flyers have been wanting to say to their partners.
Oh.
But so going back to your performance days, especially when you traveled with James Brown, you described James Brown as one of the hardest working entertainers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you give him that title?
Oh, I didn't give it to him. They gave it to him. But it's true.
Or why was it unanimous that he was the hardest working?
It was unanimous. Once we found out, it was unanimous. Because he worked that way, and then he wanted the same thing from you. He wanted the same thing from his band. He wanted the same thing from his background play singers. He wanted the same thing. So it meant he worked hard and long hours, then you work hard and long hours. Only you practice and, you know, do your routines like he do his routines.
Mm-hmm. And in response, when we talked about that, you countered by saying that Mama Lou was the hardest working woman in entertainment.
Yes, she was. She was.
So why was she deserving of that title?
Because she worked hard at it and she would do it. Whatever it was, the only thing that she did not do is let somebody throw her up in the air. But the step that you do when you hit the floor, she knew how to do that step. The routines, she knew how to do them. She knew how to Lindy Hop. And she rehearsed and practiced like we did. So everything we did, she did it. So she knew what she wanted from us, and she got it because she worked out there with us, hand in hand. And it was, you know, a continuous thing until you got it, until you learned what she was trying to teach you. you know, and then the way that you carry yourself, that had to go along with that. You were respectful, and she said, "Do this," and we said, "Yes, ma'am," and you did it.
We have a question from the chat. Just for the audience, if you haven't been with us for any other interviews, Gloria and I are gonna keep talking, but if you have any questions for Miss Gloria, please put them in the chat, and we'll dedicate some time at the end to do some audience questions. But I just want to share this one just because it was so relevant. How you said, the only thing Miss Parks didn't do was be thrown around.
Right.
So with that, who was in charge of teaching the aerials?
We were. Each one of us come with one that we had learned from, like the dancers at the Savoy. But then after the Savoy was gone, there was a lot of us, we knew what we were doing. So each one of us, would teach a newcomer. And if we were adding to the group, because half of us was going on the road and the other half was staying to do the jobs in the city, right? We would teach them. And then they, in turn, as they got to be seniors in the group, would teach somebody else. And it's easy, when you know what you're doing, to do it, because you know how to show somebody, well, see, we do it like this. You do this step, he grabs you here, you put your hands here, whatever. And it's each one teach one.
Okay, awesome. But as an original Parkettes, who taught you the aerials? I know you said that James Pugh was the first person to throw you, but who taught you how to be thrown?
The different ones from the Savoy. When I started at the Savoy and the first Lindy Hop Harvest Moon Ball that they were having in Madison Square Garden, the different ones, sometimes one wouldn't know exactly how to do an air step. And one of the seniors, the older dancers, would come and show you exactly how to do it. So they taught me, and then I could even teach my partner or a partner what to do because I know what to do. So they just passed it on. It was no thing like this one person was responsible for, the dance routines and the throwing, the air steps and whatnot. Everybody helped everybody.
Awesome. So we have, I'm going to bring in another question. So there was a period, so the original Savoy closed in 1958.
Okay.
But then soon after came the Savoy Manor.
Right.
Do you recall what year that opened up?
No.
Or just how long after, you think?
I don't remember, but it wasn't a long time. I guess it was, I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah.
Well, during that interim, where between the Savoy and Savoy Manor, what were dancers doing to get their social dancing fix? Like, where else was there to go?
Well, we used the school for a while, and then after the school, we used Miss Parks' basement. They had a basement in this apartment complex she had, and we would use that. And then sometimes we used the street.
Okay, so you guys would just go dancing in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
So not even just like your guys' practices. This would just be people just musically playing and people just be dancing.
We would have our music too sometimes, most of the time, because they wouldn't have the music we needed for the Lindy Hop. They would have music for other things, but we needed that tempo and that kind of music.
Gotcha. I said another question. It lost me. All right. I just want to just kind of throw in just some names that kind of we discussed and kind of just do some just quick history of Gloria, because I do want to spend some time, because a common theme amongst a lot of our dancers was that they competed in the Harvest Moon Ball. And the Harvest Moonball, for those who don't know, is a dance competition that was held in Madison Square Garden.
Right.
So it's no small college tournaments in front of your friends and family. This is in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like as a new dancer competing in such a grand venue?
Oh, excitement. We were excited to do it. Felt good, and couldn't wait to get on the floor. We were doing what we do. And by, wasn't afraid, just did what we did.
As a newer dancer, just going back and my timeline, just thinking of when I was competing for like the first time, maybe like 3 or 6 months into dancing. This was just in front of, just friendly friends and family, just cheering on any small thing I did. I just want to see, I'm just not sure. I was curious of just exactly the mindsets of being, I'm going to say just brave enough to go out there and compete. Did you have to like psych yourself up? Was there any type of like any feeling of nervousness or jitteriness in your body, or was it just business as usual out there?
It was just business as usual. We were just used to it, and it's let me see, how can you put it out? We were ready, we enjoyed it, and we wanted to do it. And like you said, some people, it would be nervous, but if the dancers were nervous, they didn't show it. You know what I'm saying? And you had your partner, and if there's something you need to talk over with them, one of those things, but the people, we was used to being around so many people until, all of the people at Madison Square Garden was just some people, and we were there to entertain them. And I don't think you had time to get nervous or scared, because you were doing what you were doing, and you knew what you were doing. It wasn't something you said, well, this is the first time we trying this or whatnot, because most of the dancers, they had been dancing a while, before they went to Madison Square Garden. So.
Awesome. And did you use, I think you told me you competed 3 times.
Yes.
And I think you said you got third, and tied for seconds.
Uh-huh.
That's what it was. Was it with James Pugh every time?
No, I danced with a fella, his name was Lee Moats. And I danced with a fella, Willie Posey. Okay. There's a couple of more in there somewhere, but that's what I remember right now.
Awesome. We have a comment from Maxine just talking about the other places to dance in that area. Okay. Did you ever dance at the Rennie, the Audubon, or the Alhambra?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that went back to like where when the Savoy was closed. So you guys would also go dancing in those places as well.
Right. Yeah, we were doing shows at the different places. Not, not practicing, but went there to perform.
Gotcha. And so when you joined the group, actually, when you started dancing in '53, you were 17 at the time. So once the group actually started, you were older, and then once the group became, internationally traveled, you're probably like early 20s or something along those lines. What was your family's reaction to you becoming a dancer and then becoming a world traveling dancer?
Oh, they were happy for me, especially my father. My mother too, but my father, because he started me out, and he was happy,
Did he try to take credit?
Oh, no, he didn't. What's funny, because he's easygoing. My daddy was a real sweet person. And he said, go ahead, go do it, go.
Awesome. And I know one sentiment that gets brought up a lot by your past interviews is kind of almost a sentence of you don't know you're making history while you're making it. And that can definitely be said about the Parkettes of how, famous and how much of an impact you guys have made. was there any kind of recognition while you were a Parkette of kind of what importance you guys were doing for this dance, or was it something that kind of had you had to realize years afterwards?
Realized years afterwards.
Mhm. And then with that, because you traveled all around the world doing Lindy Hop, did
Mhm.
it surprise you, or does it surprise you that Lindy Hop is now a worldwide dance that we can find Lindy Hop in most countries in the world currently? Does that surprise you at all?
Yes, yes, it does. It really does.
Mhm. What about that surprises you?
Uh, that is so popular, you know. But I'm glad that it's popular. But it's so popular. It wasn't, as popular as it is now. So many people, weren't doing it, but now everyone is doing it.
Mhm. Can you think, just like seeing how popular it is now, of course, can you like give any of like your reasoning of why you think it's why is Lindy Hop such a popular dance, or what makes it so popular to do?
Other than feeling good, enjoying yourself, just getting, swinging and dancing and doing what you're doing. It's a good feeling. The music is good. Uh, it's, I guess that's why it is, But everybody's doing it.
Is that something that you would say separates Lindy Hop from every other dance style?
I would guess so. I would guess so. You see, the other dancers, uh, the, they go from one thing to the next. Okay, you got the twist, and you got what is it, boogaloo, and you got uh, uh, mashed potatoes, and you got
The jerk.
Sure.
The
The
jerk,
jerk.
Maxine said.
the jerk, yeah, the jerk, all of that. You know what I'm saying? But it goes and comes. But the Lindy Hop is still here. It's been around since the 20s. It's still here, and it's even more popular now than it was uh, when we started it. And each decade, it gets a little bit more popular. There's places that you can go to, and that's why I was asking you. It's like you said you call it Lindy, but is it swing dancing? What is that? What? But
A common thing that we've learned through these interviews is that you guys call what we do swing dancing
uh-huh,
because we mainly do floor work. Where
uh-huh,
you said that, where a lot of people said that, you guys said no, from your generation, Lindy Hop incorporates a lot of air steps into the dance.
uh-huh,
Or where we still call we do Lindy Hop, but we've been called swing by your generation as a
uh-huh.
floor dance.
Well, people are swinging now or Lindying now. Whichever way, whatever you want to call it, they are doing it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. It, I want to see if I can make this question make sense. Because a lot of people always want to hear from your generation about the values of Lindy Hop, because it's very important for this generation and for the current Lindy Hop scene to make sure that the values of Lindy Hop are being portrayed in the dance currently and for the next generation to be taught to them. Can you kind of first tell us what did Miss Parks, what did she value in Lindy Hop, or what would you say? What would you guess she would say would be the heart of Lindy Hop?
You said the heart. Say that one again.
So, for Miss Parks,
Uh-huh.
what do you think? What do you think she would say if she was asked, "What is the heart of Lindy Hop?"
The heart of the Lindy Hop is black people, the black dancers, because they did it back, starting way back in the 20s and 30s. They were famous for the Lindy Hop. Different groups, did the Lindy Hop. Okay. And everybody, well, as far as they know, if you heard a Lindy Hop or somebody doing it, they were black. but now they're every color. And that's how it, so she wanted to keep that particular part of Blackness alive.
Awesome. And then for you, Gloria, in 2021, what would you say for you is the heart of Lindy Hop?
That's it. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. I guess as a follow-up question, and I hope I word this okay. As a white dancer, what advice would you give to me to help teach the next generation and keeping the Black in Lindy Hop?
Well, because you know, and because you are Lindying, right? You say this started. This is not our dance. This is the Black dance, but we love it too. We want to share this, just like we would want to share the waltz, because that's what, you would do. You would waltz. Okay, we would like to do it, and we would learn how to do it. And we wouldn't take it away from the beginning and who it came from and who it belonged to. We would not say, well, no, this is our dance, okay? But it's not ours. We do it. We want to do it. We like it. But you got the credit for it. And we just want the credit for the Lindy Hop.
So make sure to give credit where credit is due.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. We have some other questions. Who are your favorite bands or musicians to dance to?
To dance to?
Yep.
Well, big bands, the big bands. I've danced to everything, but the big bands, they.
Any particular band leaders stand out to you?
Well, a band leader, his name was Buddy Johnson. Red Prysock, Arthur Prysock, Duke Ellington. That's all I can think of right now. But they were the ones that had the big bands.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And then another question. Did you personally have like a signature move that was Gloria's move while you're performing?
Say it again.
Did you have like a signature move that was you kind of took credit for, or that you would always do and became, oh, that's Gloria's move that she's about to do? Or maybe even just a favorite move that you would do while performing?
I haven't thought about that.
This is where you're allowed to, this is where your ego can shine.
Well, when I used to Lindy Hop with Waco, that was my longest partner, right? We used to do something we called the barrel roll. And I used to do the neck snatch, where I would neck snatch him. And then we do drop down the back, where he'd throw me up over his shoulder and hold on to one leg, and I'd be flagging around and stuff like that. From the back, but I'd be bottom side up as he'd be carrying me like a sack of flour or something.
Awesome. Real quick, can you just kind of go through your different dance partners while you were in the Parkettes?
Okay. At some time or the other, I danced with all of the boys. After Waco was my longest partner and major partner, but because the other boys had partners, like Deborah, like David had Deborah and Gigi, right? Edward had, I danced with Edward. We had one boy, his name was Melvin. I danced with Melvin. Melvin would dance with another girl, but basically the partners, as time went on, we danced with all of them. But like we had one major partner, as long as the boys, you know, we had them there with us, you know. His name was Waco. His real name was Gregory Arnold, but excuse me, he was from Texas, so they called him Waco. That's about all I can think of. The fellas at the Savoy, I danced with all of them, but the major partner was Waco.
Actually, just going back to the Savoy, I know, you know, you're dancing from like 50 to 58. Some probably the most well-known to our community when it comes to Savoy are the members of Whitey's Lindy Hoppers.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Were any of those members still coming and dancing the Savoy in 53 or from 53 to 58 that you can recall?
No, I can't recall them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've seen them otherwise. I had, you know, other places and whatnot. They were in different movies, but I don't recall them from the Savoy. I didn't meet them there at all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question asking, did you dance conga or mambo or any other type of like Afro-Cuban dancing when you were in Harlem?
Oh, yes. Yes. We used to dance with a band, Tito Puente. And they had what do you call it? A theater in the Bronx, which was a Spanish theater, and everybody in it was Spanish. The band was Spanish, like I say, Tito Puente, this Rodrigo, I can't think his name. It's another couple of them. Anyway, but they had their Latin theater, and we worked with them. You know, we had our act and they had their act, but it was all, and we didn't understand nothing but parquettes. And then we'd have to bust out on the floor because we couldn't understand, you know, when they were introducing in Spanish. But when it came time for us to go, we went.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So I think we're coming up close to time. If there's any final questions from the audience, please put them in now. But I kind of want to throw in a two-parter at you, Gloria. Just because of, you know, it being May 2021, things are now starting to reopen across the country. And dance, we're not sure when, but we know it's not far behind becoming a reality of us being able to dance again. A question I would always ask to kind of close the event for our other guests would kind of be some words of motivation while we're waiting. But for you, now that dance is actually we see the end of the tunnel, it's now time for us to get up and start practicing again. So what advice would you give as a parquette to those of us who kind of need to regain our motivation physically to start getting back in shape into dancing and to be able to perform the way we did a year and a half ago?
Okay. You remember you said you had to, if you did something for 10 minutes or so, is that how you said it? You'd have to rest for 20?
I said that in private, but I'll share it here too. Yeah, just trying to do what I did a year and a half ago. I had to sit down for a while.
Okay. Well, just tell them they should start, you know, when they start doing it. That's so that they can make it through the half hour. If you do 10 and you have to sit for 20, all right, tell them to start now so they can make it through the whole half hour. And then when it's time to hit the floor, tell them to hit it.
Awesome. I definitely needed the audience motivation of a call out to get me to put my money where my mouth is when it comes to practicing again. So I appreciate it, Gloria.
Oh, you're welcome.
Awesome. And I guess going back to the first part, what words of advice, whether they be ones that you heard from Miss Parks herself or from any other of the elders of the dance, or even just advice that you've come across yourself as your years as a dancer, what just kind of words of encouragement would you give for this generation watching, for ourselves, and what we can give off to the next generation?
Well, if you take care of your body, and if you want to dance, you dance, you practice, you find something that you like, you find some people that you would like to practice with or rehearse with or learn from, and you work at it. And let that be number one, the thing that you want to do, because it takes a little time. It does not happen overnight. It takes a little time. So you get your mind, your body, and your head together and pick out what you want to do and go for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gloria. This has been a wonderful interview. It's been so awesome to talk with you and have you share your history of this dance and to really just give even more insight to a history that's been not given the credit that it's deserved. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today, and everyone can real quick unmute themselves and give a big round of applause to Miss Gloria Caldwell. Thank you so much, and also a special shout out to two of our past interviewees that came in, Miss Maxine and Miss Deborah Youngblood. Just a quick hello or round of applause for them too.
Yeah.
You can see their interviews on the Jazz Attack YouTube channel where they were able to tell their histories as well. But once again, thank you so much, Gloria. It's been wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Nick, Kate.